So my name is Rob. My name used to be Bante Warpanyo when I was a monk for 7 years, and currently going by Dr. Rob as a form of funniness, entertainment, and also a way to give my students a good way to call to me that is less casual and also has levity with it. So um, I wanted to start off with actually a practice from Thich Nhat Hanh to share with the community and seeing how it's just me here. I'll be the, one kind of talking about myself. Uh, this is a way of beginning anew. It's called a beginning anew practice, and it's a three-stage practice with watering flowers, sharing compost, and expressing regret, or can also be like expressing hurt. So the first thing I want to share is flowers. Um, I think that my way of sharing is very consistent. So I give a lot of accessibility and presence to anyone who would like to learn more about meditation and Buddhism and to take the teachings on no self more seriously and actually maybe go on their own kind of spiritual journey like I did. I think I make that something that is more accessible than other places online and with other spiritual teachers, sharing a lot of time and energy and accessibility and vulnerability as well. I think that I'm quite funny, so my way of teaching can bring a lot of levity and at the same time can be very challenging. And I think that combination of levity and challengingness is really important and helps a lot of people. And third, I think there is a lot of willingness here in me to help and to share and to build community, and that I'm very skillful in being a leader, and I'm very skillful in building community in a lot of different ways, and I have a lot of experience with it from my journey of being a monk and living in communities, different places around the world. So I have kind of a multifaceted and multicultural approach about creating and facilitating and supporting community to flourish. I think another flower that I'll share is I think I'm also very flexible in my approach and how to deal with different people and deal with different situations. And I think I also offer a lot of resources that would be very difficult to find, especially in a way of like live communication, where you can actually see the person and hear the person and contact the person who's telling you, yeah, you can go to this monastery, yeah, you can become a monk or a nun. And there's not really any other places online that are doing that. So I think that's another good quality that I have to share. So those are the flowers, and now we'll move on to the compost, or things that could probably be improved. Um, I think I have definitely gotten carried away by the profit seeking, and that's not specifically about money, but more about like bringing in more people, having more eyes on the screen, having more engagement, having a larger reach, and I think that that's something that I will slowly have to work on a lot. Is that too much emphasis on growth, too much emphasis on reaching more people and not enough emphasis on deeper teachings for the people who are already here in the community and are looking for more integral support. So that's one compost. Another one is maybe getting carried away by the crazy wisdom mentality or perspective, so that even though the background of this approach and this sharing is very much based in non-self, a lot of the people that I'm interacting with don't know what that is or even know what that means, and may just be coming across this randomly or from a very limited amount of experience, and that can give people a very bad impression of who I am and what this is about. That can invite outside negativity, and can also put my students or the people who take this seriously in a more vulnerable position than they need to be. So that's something I need to work on a lot, is this whole crazy wisdom perspective or justification for my ways of acting. And another compost, I think to some degree there may be um, too much attachment or too much habit energy about just going live and just sharing, and maybe not having something of something that's been cultivated or kind of built up. I can just like show up and give, and it would be a lot more meaningful sometimes, or a lot of the time, or always, if I did think a little bit about what I was preparing or what I would like to offer that day and share that day. So that's also something I can see that needs to be worked on. As for expressing regret, um, it's interesting to think about that in the role of a teacher, but there definitely is regret for how I've pushed some people to express generosity through, you know, making, donating money, and there are other ways that I could encourage them to donate or volunteer or serve or give or practice that would be way more meaningful and way more effective for them. So I definitely have some regret about that. I also have regret for just for past students and past people who've maybe seen me as a symbol of spirituality or meditation, and have been more or less involved. But there's a regret for not making more videos like this and expressing a kind of more personal vulnerability and more personal perspective about what's going on and how I'm sharing, um, which also I'm sure has led a lot of people to get the wrong idea about me, and maybe discourage them, and I do feel regret for that. And the last thing I'll say about expressing regret, um, maybe this is more or less true, but I can definitely see where I could improve a lot in that, of just taking the people who are here more sincerely, and to show in some way the appreciation and the value of their time and the value of them being concerned with the Dharma and the Buddha and the Sangha and awakening, and maybe more, practically giving them or sharing more, expressions of how precious it is for you to be concerned with the Dhamma, and that definitely doesn't have anything to do with me personally. It doesn't need to have anything to do with me personally. The preciousness of even a small periods of time giving attention to the Dharma, giving attention to the path and the want to awaken. Okay, so this has been my sharing for this beginning a new practice with the community. I hope that you can receive what I've shared and that it will reach you. And I do want to express regret and apologies if I've harmed anyone, if I've mistreated anyone, if anyone has felt disenchanted or uninspired from the spiritual life by the way of my actions and activities as of late. Thank you for listening. So what I'll also share about is this Monk Life Meditation Institute, share a little bit more information of precisely what that is. So the Monk Life Meditation Institute is going to be start off as a Discord server, and that Discord server will have recommended teachers, recommended guided meditations, maybe also some models or modules for practices and approaching practices, but especially it will be a way to be in constant contact with me and also the community. Kind of a continuous community space online. There's no fee or charge at all for joining that or being a part of that, but this is specifically for very serious practitioners and students, who are concerned with me and the work that I'm doing and the Sangha here. It's not for people who just kind of want to come in and hang out or are curious about another place. And we are inviting and asking, what kind of monthly contribution you may be able to offer as a member of the Sangha to support the teacher or the main facilitator, me. The teachings here of this Sangha and the perspective of this Sangha is very much in line and connected to the teachings of Sayadaw Ashin Otamatara, who is my spiritual master, my main spiritual master and benefactor. And he is a monk from Myanmar. He's been a monk for more than 20 years. He started when he was about 30. And he specializes in teaching of the original truth, the ultimate truth, the absolute truth, especially concerned with the teachings on anatta, or the perspective of no self. He oftentimes says, don't just practice meditation and being mindful of the body and mindful of the mind, but actually practice meditation as not someone. Practice meditation at not somewhere. Practice meditation as not something. So these teachings on not someone, not somewhere, not something, not some place, not some time, not some particular situation are very important pointers to this teaching on non-self. And as I like to say, no such thing as a real true person in a real true story. It's more like the real non-story of no personhood. So this Monk Life Meditation Institute that we have here, this online Sangha that we have here, is very focused on Dhamma Vipassana, non-self, anatta, anicca, dukkha, and also very inspired and informed by Chan, Zen Buddhism, deep Theravada, as it would be called, and also non-duality, the perspective of, no path, no awakening, no suffering, no enlightenment. And so if you would like to join that community, as you know, I'm very accessible and available to be reached, whether through leaving a comment on the YouTube channel, sending me an email, sending me a message on WhatsApp, reaching out in whatever way, and I can send you a link to the Google form to be filled out if you'd like to register. And I suppose we'll be opening up in the next week or so. My goals or my intention in doing this and being online and being available online is directly linked to the teachings I received from Sayadaw Otamatara, my teacher, and that is to do good deeds limitlessly with mindfulness and detachment. So it's one thing to study the Dharma alone, it's a whole other to study it together. It's one thing to practice meditation for ourselves, it's a whole other thing to practice meditation for everyone. And this kind of intention is really important to me. And I believe that over time, practicing more and sharing deeply more and listening deeply more and doing good deeds concerned with the path to the ending of suffering, that I and members of the community here can become more empowered in wisdom, more empowered in virtue, more empowered in generosity, and more empowered to be aware and not attached. So I'm here to support that, and I'm also on my own journey of doing that. As it relates to confusion or suffering in being here or what goes on here, that's a very essential and important part of the path. So you don't have to go through confusion and suffering here with me or with this community, but if you would like to get deeper into meditation and the path to enlightenment, you are going to have to be a lot more open and willing to experience deep suffering, to experience confusion, to experience not understanding, and to experience not being in control. It's a very important part of the path that I've experienced myself over more than 10 years now as a serious meditator, and 7 years as a Buddhist monk. One of the things that really helps me and would support me in continuing to teach and to facilitate and to share is really your feedback and your experiences and your questions. It's one thing to send an angry letter criticizing how I could do better, and it's a whole other thing if you can kind of reach out and share what, if you're looking for something, if you're looking to learn more about one aspect of Buddhism or meditation, or look more deeply into the teachings in a particular way. And the intention is for the Monk Life Meditation Institute to be a base camp for our work of acclimatizing to a life that can bear and can be aware of the impermanence of our situations, sickness, old age, death, all of the disasters that can come about as a human being. Um, the Dharma and the teachings of Buddha and the teachings of my masters have supported me so much, not just what they've said to me, but their embodied presence and the work that they do in the world, kind of what they've developed and created. In terms of me being some kind of enlightened master or guru, I have to say there's a long way to go. There's a lot of work, quote unquote, to be done and a lot of development that can take place in me being a better practitioner, a better teacher, being more peaceful and being more free. But to the chagrin of some others, also when it comes to mental illness or schizophrenia or complex delusions or ideas of grandeur, anything like that, um, everything's pretty simple and clear and direct for me in terms of my ego and my experience of thoughts arising and passing away, and those thoughts not really being me or I. So this place will continue to be open for all, but it is specially receptive to and appreciative of sincere practitioners, sincere donors, sincerely virtuous people, people who really want to try to meditate. I'm here to support with all that, and your communication, your sharing is very helpful in terms of what I do here, what I teach about, or the kind of situations that come up. So your support is very, very valuable and very beneficial. When you see me sitting like this, you can also sit like that. So, kind of trying to mimic or trying to bring your mind to be in the same way that my mind is as a way of practicing together. So, when I'm looking down like that, I'm kind of renouncing the screen, renouncing the live stream, renouncing all the thoughts and stories as much as possible, and then breathing and bringing the mind home to the body and just being in that state of breathing and being aware. And it's quite thoughtless and peaceful right now, but there can also be sensations in the body, like shots of anxiety or adrenaline or whatever it is. And then sometimes big thoughts can come in, like thoughts about our past or worries about our future or thoughts about our identity. And they can take all kinds of different forms, just like dreams can take all kinds of different forms. And the way that I practice with it is, sometimes all you can do is endure. Sometimes all I can do is endure. It's not like I can let go of that thought or get rid of it. It's almost like a ghost, being haunted by a ghost. And so to just sit there with my legs crossed, looking down, breathing, relaxing the body, being aware, or just being, whatever way helps you to just connect with, like, just. like the justness of seeing, or the justness of breathing, or the justness of experiencing the body. Try to stay with that. Try to practice with that seriously. I also want to express that recently I've become a little bit frustrated by trolls, and also frustrated by the way that some members of the community have kind of received and digested the teachings, and the way that they're acting, which is kind of seems to be not taking this seriously enough. And I suppose, that makes a lot of sense for the way that I often am portraying myself. So, um, I think that for all of us, there's no need for us to be in a place of stasis about our identity. Like, I'm this particular kind of person and I'm dragging this ball and chain of my identity with me all the time. But that through to rest and relax the whole body and mind, and to refresh and restart the whole mental picture of what's going on and who I am, there's a constant access to newness through rest. There's a constant access to newness through ordinariness. Because I'm not striving to be someone. I'm not striving to do anything. I'm not striving to be successful in any way. And allowing that not striving to take place, there seems to be something very virtuous about it, and maybe energy saving about it. And that energy saved seems to naturally open up the perspective of newness and freshness to different experiences, different environments, where there's not such a need to cling onto that past identity or that habit energy of how you've been acting or how I've been acting up to now. There's a real freshness here. There's a real openness here. There's a real lack of suffering here. There is. And we had a conversation recently with someone who's here in Vietnam, and they do English teaching, a Westerner. And they were talking about how they get their idea about what they want to do, and then they kind of think about that. They think about that, and they think about that, and they think about that, and kind of move along in this successful path of reaching their dream or something like that. Here, there's not really anything like that. Um, for example, there's a possibility of this upcoming Australia Dharma trip. I don't think about that. And I know that there's also people in our community who have severe delusions, thinking about a lot of things or believing in a lot of things that don't make sense, or people in our community that deal with a lot of anxiety through the day or a lot of depression through the day. And here, there's not really anything like that. I'm not really confused about anything right now. There's not a need for me to think about anything right now. So I'm not trying to position myself. I'm just trying to share a little bit about my experience and kind of maybe give some input in terms of what this is leaning towards or what this is about, um, based on my experience. So right now, I don't have any money. I don't have anything right now. You see what I'm saying? There's no ownership right now. This isn't, there's not a sense of this being my YouTube channel right now. For me, in my experience, that is a thought. Now, is it like a believable thought or a convincing thought? Sure, but it's just a thought. And I see it in the same way as I see my farts. Some farts smell one way, some farts smell another way, but I don't need to bottle up my farts into jars and kind of figure out what's going on. You know, and I'm sure, like many of us, more interested in my own farts than I am in other people's farts. But primarily, my life isn't about farts, really. And I can see that the idea of my life as being about farts is just another idea. It's just another thought. And most of the time, I'm not farting. And what's precious to me is not thinking. Not thinking is more precious to me than thinking. So that's, in a lot of ways, the basis of my identity, or the basis of my apparent identity. And I'm not interested in being a spiritual teacher as much as I'm interested in cultivating real, deep, meaningful spiritual friendships. And if one of those spiritual friendships was with a major Chinese billionaire donor, it would still just be a thought. And a part of the meme of need is important, like a baby, like a person with multiple sclerosis, like people with disabilities, like children. Like your own life and your own mind and your own body, your own environment right now. There is a constant need for your presence, for your attention, for your care, for your depth. That need never goes away. So, how we meet that need as a community is very important, and how we're willing and open and able to talk about our needs, not just our wants, not just our desires. Most people don't need to get enlightened. Some people probably do need that because otherwise they're suffering too much to continue living. But most people want to get enlightened. And enlightenment is antithetical to want. So once we can stop wanting and making up stories and start looking at our needs as human beings, we can start to relate in a way that's based on authenticity, generosity, mutual cooperation, participation, protection. Not just watching, live stream videos or recorded videos of somebody who's pretending to be enlightened, pretending to be a spiritual teacher. If you're going to do that, you might as well pretend to be a monk. It's much more convincing, much more interesting. I hope to share more of my life with the community. I hope to be more open. I hope to be more available. I hope to mature more. But that's not going to mean anything if you are not also taking on that responsibility seriously. I used to live a life where I was trapped in hell, where I was buying bottles of vodka to try and drown out my suffering and my psychosis and my delusions in my mind. To say that I was miserable would be an understatement. I wasn't even there. There was no awareness. There was no capacity to work with suffering, to end suffering, to be at peace, to be gentle, to be open, to be fearless. Every day was waking up with anxiety and fear. Every night was trying to drown out with drugs or alcohol, delusions, and this underlying sense of miserableness and being in danger and trying to get away. So it was only through letting go of I and stepping out of I and the norms of I that I knew that I was able to heal that and transform that and to end that suffering. There are many ways to be in relationship with each other as human beings on the path, but the best way is with mindfulness and detachment, with a willingness to do good deeds together. And for many of us, we need to be together, just like a child needs to be together. There's nothing taboo, there's nothing negative about our need to be in community, about our need to not just have superficial friends that we talk shit with, but to have real relationships with other people, to have healthy attachment with other people. But if you can't get real about your direct experience, about your mind as it is now, and your body as it is now, and to face that, then you can never work with it. And there's all kinds of different varying degrees that we want to work with it. For me, I would love to know nothing. I would love to be a holy fool. I would love to never, ever, ever know where I am ever again. To not even believe in places, to not believe in situations, to not believe in people. That's my dream, so I've got a long way to go. It's more poetry than some kind of absolutist view. But for many of us, we want to leverage the Dharma and leverage our capacity to do good deeds and leverage our capacity to meditate and leverage our capacity to trust teachings that lead to the end of suffering, to clean up house, to live a better life, and maybe to help others. So, I just want to make this short video and short live stream today, give a little contrast from our escapades over the last 1 or 2 months. And I'd like to thank all the members of the community and offer some prostrations as well. Please accept my apology and please accept my willingness to do better. Thank you.